Hey guys, welcome back after the break. Maciej from Ramp is here with me. Welcome, Maciej.
Hi.
So Maciej will do a workshop to teach you how to add fiat onramp to your Dapp. So that's one of the bounties that we have for 0x hack. And pro tip is to combine this bounty with other bounties. That should be quite easy and straightforward. Yeah, so I'll give you the stage, Maciej.
Thanks. Okay, so I'll just share my screen so we can start. Okay, I've prepared a short presentation about this, and there will also be a demo and some code samples. At the end, I will share the links so that you can see the code for yourself and play with it a little bit. It's a simple example repo, so nothing complicated, so that you can get to the gist easily. So a word about me. I'm Maciej. I'm a front-end developer at Ramp. I've worked there for almost 3 years. I'm one of 2 front-end developers. And I've created the Ramp SDK, which we're going to use today to add Ramp to your Dapp. Previously, I was a consultant at a software house where I started working with crypto about 4 years ago for a project that's now defunct, but it allowed me to learn about Ethereum when it was still pretty much in its infancy. And I've also worked for an education startup. Yeah, there's that. I'll now show you guys some short demo about what Ramp could look like when you integrate it and add some custom features, which I'll talk about a bit later. So here's So Rare. It's a fantasy football web app that's based on crypto. And it allows you to top up your internal wallet via Ramp. So I'll click that now. It shows up after a brief loader, and it allows me to buy. I'm already logged in. This is one of the awesome parts about Ramp, that if you add it to your app and your users have also used Ramp in another Dapp, they will have their payment methods, etc., already saved, so that they don't need to type in their credit card details or whatever. Is just right there. I will click proceed. In this app, we don't show the user address. It's one of the features that you can enable. If you want to obfuscate the fact that we are using blockchain here a bit, it might simplify things for beginner users that don't want to think about blockchain addresses, transaction hashes, whatever. You just say So Rare wallet or whatever your app name is, wallet, and this is easy to understand for them. Just click confirm here. I already have a few payment methods saved, but I can choose some other ones. For now, we'll just stick to the manual bank transfer just to create a transaction. Here's an order summary. You click buy now, some processing, and now there are the transfer details that you need to use to send the money to us, and we'll send you the crypto. So that's just all there is to it, pretty much. And you've probably noticed that if you've seen Ramp before, our usual colors are green and white. But in this case, the app's accent colors are blue, because we allow you to customize that, so that users don't feel like they are stepping out of your app into another one. It just feels like one integrated app, one simple flow. That's pretty much seamless. That's it for the demo. We'll go on to the presentation to talk about what ramp is and what it solves. So if you've been interested in crypto for some time, or even if you are just a beginner, especially if you're just a beginner, you've probably noticed that the biggest problem is that unless with the traditional banking system, unlike with the traditional banking system, it's pretty hard to get the basic things going, because you need to understand things like transaction hashes, how to sign a transaction, how to send another user's your wallet address, how to check up your balance. It's all pretty much still manual at this point. You have some apps that make it easier for you, but when you create a Dapp, you want users to use their wallets, and it can be sometimes complicated to um, pass some details like address, because users can find it. So we've just created a simple app that's embedded into your Dapp, so that users don't have to reach for their phone, switch apps. You just buy crypto right inside the Dapp that you're using. So it makes it a lot simpler for the user to understand what's going on, and so that they are not overwhelmed by all this. And also behind the scenes, we handle all of the hard aspects of buying and selling crypto, like compliance, AML and KYC. We support various payment methods, so just so you don't have to. And we also have a support team that answers questions if your users get stuck during any part of the process. We are now available in pretty much most of the world. And as I've said before, when you add ramp to your Dapp and a user already has an account with us, they just log in using their email and a authentication code. And they have all their details saved, all their payment methods. It's just all there. But on the technical side, we want the integration to be as simple as possible. So instead of some manual integration, we've released an SDK that you just install from npm, and within a few lines of code, you have all that running. If you need some more fine-tuned control or notifications, you can use our REST API and webhooks to monitor the user's transactions or see what assets we have available for sale. And if you are stuck as an integrator, we run a Discord channel where we provide you with support and answer questions about integrations. And you can also ask us there about some custom features if you need any, like those custom colors I've shown you, or the wallet address obfuscation. So I'll walk through the code now. I'll send you the link after I'll show you the code and the demo. But it's pretty much clone the repository, install all the packages via yarn or npm, whatever you prefer, and run start, and that's it. I'll make it a bit bigger for you. Okay, so we have some simple inputs, like whether you want to buy Ether or BTC. We, of course, have many more assets, but just to keep it simple, it's just Ethereum and Bitcoin. Type in the transaction value in euro. That's not required. The user can select the crypto assets and transaction value in our app. But if you want to shorten their flow and make it a bit easier for them and familiar, you can ask them for those details even before you start ramp and just pass us those details. And we also have a few modes that you can use ramping. The most basic one, the first one we've released is called an overlay mode, which works just like in Sorare. You get a loader and run pop-ups over your app, over the current app, and you can just go through it. As you can see, in this particular instance, we don't have the address obfuscation enabled, so we ask the user for their Ethereum address. I'm already logged in, and Ramp remembers me here. So here's my Ethereum address if you want to send me some. And yeah, that's it. If you want to close Ramp, we handle everything. There's an overlay that when you click on it, it shows this exit pop-up. There's also a mobile version that just takes up your whole screen. So we can use it on tablets or smaller devices. It's pretty much the same. It's just bigger and more focused on touch screens. And the exit button is here. The other mode of integration is what we call a hosted mode, which is mainly used for web views when you want to integrate us in a mobile app where you don't have access to a browser, or your main app is not run inside the browser. So it's just configures a link and opens a ramp in a new tab. It's not necessary to use the SDK for this. We have this documented, so all the parameters that are used by the SDK are just included in the URL. So you can just glue the link together with all the query params that are needed, like default asset or fiat currency, and redirect the user to this website so that they can go through the flow, then close the browser and go back to your Dapp and finish what they were doing, buy some crypto keys, some server fantasy cards, whatever they need. And the last mode is an embedded mode. Due to popular demand, we've also added a mode where you can launch ramp inside a given element. So let's suppose that you have a website and you just have one area where you want to display ramp so that it will show up there, not overlaying the whole app or without redirecting the user to another place. You just do that. You can set the size of the element to be whatever you want. There are some restrictions so that the widget can fit inside this element, but other than that, you just provide us with an element to put the widget in, and that's it. So as I've told you before, you can use those inputs to configure some parameters like crypto assets and transaction value. Here I've selected Ethereum and €5, and there it is, €5 and Ethereum. So I'll just show you how it's all done. On the HTML side, we don't have anything complex, just some buttons with IDs that launch the click listeners. So I'll just go to the JavaScript part. Okay. Here's the basic config for a RAMP application. So we want to know what your app is so that we can show the users which app they came from, or things like go back to demo app in this case. We also ask you for your logo URL so that we can display it. In this case, I've used some demo logo, so it looks like this. But you can provide us with a logo URL for your app, and just like in Sorare, it looks like this here. Much better. I couldn't find a better demo logo that was free to use. Okay, fiat currency, this is what I've talked about. And URL. In order to test RAMP, you want to use the staging URL so that you won't pay for real transactions, and you will be able to simulate that you've made the payment to test the flow in your app. In the production version, which is the default, so if you want to use the production version, you just remove this part and boom, you go to the production. So testing it locally is just as simple as providing a URL to the widget. In the production version, you obviously have to pay for your transactions so that they go through and you receive the crypto. But on staging, the staging environment, I can show you. You can go through the whole flow, create a transaction using, for example, this payment method. Okay, let's create a transaction here. I'll check that I've transferred the funds through my online banking, which I obviously haven't. And here it is, go back to demo app, as I've told you before. You can click view receipt. And when you go here, you can click the button that releases the funds. This just simulates that a user has made a payment, so that you don't have to pay for your transaction, and you can see what it looks like when everything is okay. And it says success here right now, and the status screen has gone to all done. So yeah, on the production environment, it's not available. So it's best to test here on our staging mode. And here's the SDK. We've imported it from npm over here. The package is called @rampnetwork/ramp instant SDK. Ramp instant is the older name we've had for ramp. We just use ramp now, but we didn't want to break anyone's implementation, so we just kept the old name for our library. Okay, we create a on-click. When someone clicks the overlay desktop button, for example, we launch this function with the desktop parameter. we put the basic ramp config we've discussed here into this object, and also choose a default asset. This is optional, as I mentioned before. If you want to shorten your users' flow and make them get to their crypto purchase faster, you can just provide this for them. So we provide a default asset. Fiat value, this is the amount of euro that you want the user to pay for their crypto. And variant is what selects whether it will be an overlay or a hosted mode or embedded mode, just like we've discussed. So you create an instance of the ramp SDK and just run the show method on it. In case of other modes like the hosted mode or the embedded mode is the same, although the embedded mode also requires you to provide a container node, which is just a reference to this element in this case. So you just point us to the element you want ramp to pop up in, and we verify that it's the right size, etc., and put ramp in it. So in order to get this element, you just do this. Ramp container is document.querySelector, and this is the ID of the element that I've used, hashtag ramp node. And this is how it's passed. If this doesn't look familiar to you, if this code is a little bit different from your code, it's because I've used TypeScript. I thought that it might be more readable to people who are used to strongly typed languages. But you can also use the ramp SDK with basic JavaScript. Nothing complicated is needed, no complex setup. Just get the package and go. And also one thing that is not shown here is that we also have events that you can subscribe to. So if I do this, it means on any event that happens in the ramp application, console log me the event. So let's just see that. I'll open the DevTools here. Click the desktop overlay. You can ignore this. This is from one of the integrations that we use to check for fraud. They basically check if the browser that the user uses is not something simulated or it's not automated. It's just basic fraud prevention. But the thing that is the most interesting to us is here. So this means widget config done, means the widget is loaded and everything is okay. And if I go here and create a transaction, it gives me a purchase created event along with some details about the transaction. So the fiat currency, the status of the transaction, the asset, which is the crypto that the user bought, which is Ether in this case, the exchange rate, and all the other things that you that might be necessary for you to implement this. But this is all optional. You don't have to use this. If you don't want to, you can just remove this. Just show the widget to the user. They will go through it, buy the crypto they need, and it will be available for them to use in your Dapp. So this is all opt-in. You use as much as you want, but we don't push you to into a complex integration. As you can see, the basic integration is just 5 lines here, including the 4 lines here for the config. The basic, most simple integration looks like this. Nothing more is needed. All other details are completely optional. So we just want the logo from you and your app's name. All other things are optional. And if you don't use a bundler like Webpack or Parcel, you can get your Ramp SDK from a hosting. So you can just do this in pure HTML with no JavaScript bundling and building processes. So nothing complicated. Okay, I think that's it for the code demo. This will all be available to you. This is in a public repository that I will share with you in a moment. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Okay, as I've told you before, this is all described in our documentation. So you go to docs.ramp.network and you can see all the configuration parameters for the SDK. They are described, so it's easy to understand. You can provide the user address. It's all it all says where a parameter is required or optional. You can pass in the user email address, their country code. You can also use webhooks. If you have a backend for your app and you want to process when a user creates a transaction, you don't have to listen for the events and pass them on to your app. You can just use our webhook API. So when you create the widget, you provide a webhook status URL, and when a transaction is done by a user, we send you a request to this address that you provided with all the same details that I've shown you in the browser console. It's also documented right here with some examples on how to set up a simple server that will receive those requests and show them to you. If you use this locally, you can use ngrok to receive the request without hosting your backend anywhere. And also, when you just want to link to Ramp without downloading the SDK, you can just create a link like here, linking to buy.ramp.network and pass the parameters that you want to use. For example, the swap asset or user address. And the most important one that you should know about is, let me switch the tab here. It's here. This is what probably most of you are going to need when integrating Ramp into your dApps. You can go to our Discord, either the one on 0xHack or our official Ramp Discord to ask for a host API key. So that you can ask us for custom features like the custom colors or the address obfuscation. This is also needed when you want to use credit card payments via Ramp. So some payment methods are enabled only when you provide us with a host API key, just for the user's safety. We don't require you to pay us anything. It's just for safety, so that we can know which apps registered to use credit card payments with us. Okay, back to the links. So as I've told you, the Discord channel for Ramp, this is the official one where you can ask about integrations, ask for some custom features to be enabled for you if you need any. The docs page, which I've shown you, this is like the most basic source of information for you when it comes to adding Ramp to your website. Today's demo code, if you want to play with it, clone it, run it, and the link to the npm package. Okay, Antek messaged me. Does Ramp support any L2s? If so, how do you specify which one the address is on? Okay, so Ramp supports some L2s, like Polygon, for example. And when you go to buy.ramp.network, or I will use this website. Okay, this is the same. This just uses an API key, so that the features are enabled. You can look for Polygon or on Polygon chain, DAI on Polygon chain. So the user just selects the appropriate asset, and that's it. We are in the process of redesigning it so that choosing assets that have their L2s for them will be easier. But for now, you just select an asset that's on a L2 chain. You just go there and it says add your Polygon address here. Okay, another question. Okay, can you integrate the app with Python? Okay, so the ramp is separate from the backend that you use. So you can use whatever you want on the backend. You can use Java, Haskell, Elixir, whatever you need. It's separate from the UI layer. So the UI layer is what you see in the browser right here. This is not Python. This is just regular browser. And when you provide the webhook status URL, it sends a request, but it's not sent to the user's browser. It's sent to your server. So you need to have a backend set up somewhere, for example, on AWS, that receives those requests and saves them to the database, or whatever you want to do with this transaction info. So this is separate. The Flask backend, as it mentioned, doesn't interact with the user's instance of Ramp that is open. Okay, and the last link is the link to the npm package. I will show it to you right now. This is where you can download the SDK from, and also there's a link to the repository. It's all open source, so you can see how exactly all of this works. It's just the SDK. Ramp, the widget itself is not open source, but the SDK is open source, so you can see that it doesn't do anything that you might not want it to. Because ramp, I haven't said this before, but let me just jump to the to this part. Ramp is completely separate from your app, so nothing that you do in your app can change the content of this part, because it's run in an iframe, and it's done mostly for security, because we have some things like the users will provide credit card details here, and we don't want Dapps to be able to see what the users type in here. So it's completely like air gapped from each other. So if you see the element tree here, you can see that this is run in an iframe. So details can't leak out of this iframe, and bad actors, malicious actors, can intercept details from inside this widget. It's just for user safety. And also this way, we don't break any of your CSS, and ramp is completely independent of from your whole tech stack. The great part is about this solution is also that you don't need to update your SDK every time we release a product update. So let's suppose we released an update where we changed all the colors to the background colors to be black, like a dark mode, and you are still on the old SDK version. It doesn't matter, because we fetch the latest version of the ramp widget from our servers, and you are always up to date. You don't need to maintain the integration or do any kind of work on it. It just updates itself in the background, so it's all fresh and secure with all the latest features that you might need. How does ramp acquire the user's KYC? Okay, so we use a third-party provider for this. They're called Passbase, and they, if we decide that we aren't sure if you are not a fraudster or whatever, if we before we send you the crypto, we ask you for ID verification. This just requires a webcam, and that's it. You show your face to the webcam, send a photo of your ID, and that's it. You can go through with the transaction. And also, this is not something that requires any work from you. It's all in the background. So once you integrate the SDK and show ramp to the user, we handle all of this, and you don't need to concern yourself with such details. Just point the user to ramp, and you can forget about it. We handle the rest. Okay. Do you guys have any more questions? That's all I wanted to show you. So I will also paste the links. Or I will just send them to the ramp Discord in a sec. After we are finished, I will send all the links that are here to the Discord channel with some write-up.
Yeah, thanks a lot for this introduction to Ramp network. Personally, I love this project and the ease of use. I use it quite often. And just a reminder, Ramp network has two kinds of bounties. One is to use the onramp in your DApp, and the other is to create the newbie-friendly app. So it's a great bounty to combine it also with other bounties. Yeah. So I think you answered all the questions, Maciej.
Okay, so if you have any more questions, just message me on the 0xHack Discord or on the RAM channel, or just go to RAM's Discord and we also answer questions there.
Yeah.
So you know how to reach me. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Maciej.